Friends, we can all see that many white bloggers have millions of followers. Please support me too, because my followers are still few. Black bloggers also deserve to be famous. Raised fist medium dark skin tone. My friends, let's unite and lift each other up. Please press subscribe button and like. The cafe hummed with the morning rush. The usual mix of hurried business people, bleary-eyed students, and retirees sipping their coffee filled the space with a low murmur. In a corner, a young waitress named Mia navigated the chaos with practiced ease, balancing trays with a grace that belied the weariness in her eyes. Mia wasn't formally educated. She left school at 15 to help her single mother make ends meet. Since then, life had been a daily grind. But what she lacked in formal schooling, she more than made up for in heart. Her customers adored her. She always had a warm smile, remembered their regular orders, and handled even the grumpiest patrons with endless patience. That morning, something unusual caught her attention. A middle-aged man sat nervously at a table near the window. He was clutching a small dictionary and struggling to communicate with the cashier. His accent was thick, his words broken. Mia realized he wasn't speaking English at all. He was speaking French. The cashier, flustered and impatient, simply shrugged. "Sorry, sir. I don't understand." The man's cheeks flushed with embarrassment as other customers began to stare. Mia's heart ached. Without a moment's hesitation, she hurried over. "Bonjour, monsieur," she said softly, her French clear and fluid. "Comment puis-je aider?" "Good morning, sir. How may I help you?" The man's eyes widened. Relief washed over his face as he began speaking rapidly in his native tongue. Mia listened attentively, nodding. A few moments later, she turned to the cashier and translated. "He just wants a black coffee and a croissant. Nothing fancy." The cashier blinked, surprised. Mia smiled at the French man and then hurried to get his order. The entire cafe seemed to pause. A few customers had overheard the exchange. One whispered to another, "I thought she barely finished school. How on earth does she know French?" What no one knew was that Mia had taught herself. She couldn't afford college, but in the quiet hours after her late shifts, she borrowed old French books in the library and listened to free lessons online. She dreamed of one day traveling to Paris, but for now, it was just that, a dream. For now, she was content with helping people, one small act of kindness at a time. At the next table sat an older gentleman in a pristine suit. His silver hair gleamed under cafe lights, and his eyes had followed the entire scene. He had been quietly stirring his espresso, unnoticed by most. But when Mia returned with the French customer's order, speaking with such ease and kindness, something in his heart stirred. The French customer placed a trembling hand over his chest and said, "Merci, mademoiselle, vous êtes un ange." "Thank you, miss. You are an angel." Mia blushed. "De rien, monsieur. You're welcome." He left soon after, smiling for the first time since he had walked in. Mia went back to wiping tables, completely unaware that the man in the suit was still watching her. When he finished his espresso, he left a folded note beneath the saucer, along with a tip that made Mia freeze when she saw it. It wasn't just a few bills. It was $500. Her hands shook as she opened the note. Inside, written in elegant handwriting, were the words, "Asterisk, true intelligence is not measured by degrees, but by the heart. Meet me tomorrow at this cafe at 9 a.m. I would like to talk to you about your future. Richard Langford." Asterisk. Mia's breath caught. The name was familiar. Richard Langford wasn't just any man. He was a billionaire philanthropist known across the country for funding scholarships and humanitarian projects. All night, Mia tossed and turned, unsure whether to believe it or dismiss it as some cruel prank. But something inside her urged her to show up. The next morning, dressed in her cleanest apron, she nervously waited at the cafe. At exactly 9 o'clock, a sleek black car pulled up, and Richard Langford himself stepped out. He smiled warmly. "Mia," her voice trembled. "Yes, sir. I watched what you did yesterday," he said, pulling out a chair. "You saw a man in need, and without hesitation, you stepped in with kindness. That's rare, But what struck me most was that you taught yourself French despite your circumstances. That kind of determination, that kind of heart, is the foundation of true success. Mia's eyes filled with tears. I just wanted to help, she whispered. And that's exactly why I'm here. He slid an envelope across the table. Inside is a ticket, a one-way ticket to Paris. I'm offering to sponsor your education abroad. Not just because you're capable, but because the world needs people like you, people who lift others without expecting anything in return. Mia's jaw dropped. Her fingers shook as she opened the envelope. It was real. A plane ticket to Paris, along with a note of sponsorship. Her breath hitched. But why me? I'm just a waitress. Richard smiled. You're not just anything. You are proof that kindness, perseverance, and self-learning are more valuable than any title or wealth. The world will recognize that someday. I'm only giving you the chance to step into it sooner. Tears streamed down Mia's face. For the first time in years, she felt like her dreams weren't impossible. She wasn't just surviving anymore. She had a future. As the cafe buzzed with morning chatter, Mia whispered, "Thank you. I promise I won't waste this chance." Richard patted her hand gently. "The only thing I ask is that you never lose the heart that made me notice you in the first place." Years later, newspapers in Paris would publish her story. From Waitress, a language ambassador, Mia Thompson inspires millions. And when asked what changed her life, she always gave the same answer. One act of kindness can open doors you never knew existed. Never underestimate the power of a good heart.